We have one of the premier collectors here at the convention. It's Ted Mathias from Canton, Ohio, former combat medic. He has amassed probably one of the most intricate and complete collections of a field hospital. And you know, Ted, I have to thank you so much for being on our show today, but tell me a little bit about the history about you and when did you serve?
Okay. I was drafted in 1968 and got my 9 weeks of medical training at Fort Sam Houston, and 10 days off, and 3 days later I was in Vietnam. 5 days later I was with the infantry company out in the jungle with them all betting their life on my experience and training. Okay, and so I served out in the field as a field medic for 10 months. And the last 2 months of my service over there, I was pulled out to run a battalion aid station because they ran out of doctors.
Oh my goodness. Well, listen, I tell you, if we could walk just through your collection here. The thing about it is, even on active duty, I don't believe I have seen these types of specific collection items. I don't even think a field hospital probably back then, even during my day. Okay, I was too young for Vietnam, but from the mill mine wear to eating their meals, I mean, the pressure cookers for the sterilization. I mean, how did you put all this collection together, and how long did it take you?
I started about 10 years ago in Findlay, Ohio. There were 2 IV bottles.
Hanging on? Yeah, okay.
One of them's hanging up there with fake blood in it.
Right.
And that's what started it, because I always had this idea of creating a little battalion aid station. Well, that was my goal, and it grew. I had help from friends. I've had help from every vendor that ever goes to a military flea market has helped me put this together. A lot of friends, eBay, and my last assignment was with the Clearing Company Hospital in Fort Stewart, Georgia.
Right. And
clearing companies are dynamic. Okay, so you can be this tent or smaller, or full size, which is 27 tent, 300 bed hospital, anywhere in the world in 24 hours. Takes 9 hours to set up, take your first patient. So I have it all condensed into one, primarily because veterans who have been wounded, okay, some it brings back a sad memory, and some it brings back good memories, you know, so it's you just have to play into that, and the public gets to see what it was really like. Okay, it's not set up as a show. Okay, although it is. I try to make it as real and as functional as we used to in Vietnam.
Well, as a collection standpoint, how many pieces of items, how many hundreds of thousands of things do you think you've collected over the years?
In here, of notable items, I have about 500.
Wow.
That are notable on a sheet somewhere.
I mean, from MREs to the way back, the C-rats, you've got them on the shelf. I mean, from the microscopes, and one of the things too is the Operations Center radios. I can still hear, in my mind, I can hear the squawk and the squelch on the calls coming in. And you know, in a hospital like this was near a helipad. Right. Okay, and so everybody has that idea that it's the 4077, it's MASH, it's the TV show.
That's what they know.
Yeah, and that's what they think they know, but they really don't. Okay, because again, when you had to come back here, you were wounded, and some more serious than others, but when you got evac to the rear, 9 times out of 10, you may not make it.
Yes. Most people don't realize that there is a plan in place, and has been, for the evacuation of sick and wounded. Most people don't know that behind that radio is a medical regulation officer. He is in control of all patients that are moving. If medevac is full, if this hospital is full, it's his job to get the patient where he can get the fastest treatment. And he has the final word, and he's sitting in a Jeep at a helipad somewhere, and he might run a very large area right from there. And people don't realize all that goes on behind the scenes, okay, because you're right, all they know is MASH,
Right.
or the movies.
Ted, God bless you.
Yep.
Thank you so much
it.
for your service. Thank you for bringing this collection to life for so many veterans and even non-veterans. And I think it's important for what you put together here, and that's what Military Collectors is all about. We have to show the next generations exactly where we've walked and where we've talked, and put these kind of collections together for them to see. And so it's just very, very special, and we thank you so much.
Yes. There's a common comment in here. This must have been where my dad was. This must have been where my grandfather was.
There you go.